In a move that sent shockwaves through Britain and beyond, the House of Lords ignited a constitutional firestorm, initiating proceedings to strip Prince Harry of his royal titles. As headlines erupted and palace corridors fell silent, the Duke of Sussex responded with an explosive reaction that stunned the world. What provoked this unprecedented confrontation, and how did a royal rebellion escalate into a historic battle for legacy and identity? Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. The announcement arrived with the force of a thunderclap, reverberating through Westminster and Buckingham Palace alike. For centuries, royal titles had symbolized continuity, heritage, and unyielding tradition, yet now, in a move as audacious as it was historic, members of the House of Lords sought to sever one of the monarchy's most recognizable figures from his birthright. The proposal ignited a constitutional debate of unprecedented magnitude, plunging Britain into a moment of reckoning that blurred the boundaries between tradition and reform. As news of the motion spread, the world watched in disbelief, captivated by the unfolding drama at the heart of the British establishment. Within hours, a global media frenzy erupted. Headlines blazed across continents. Commentators speculated with urgency, and social platforms ignited with passionate debate. Supporters rallied in defense of Prince Harry, portraying him as a modern symbol of defiance against antiquated structures, while critics argued that accountability and duty must prevail over privilege. The controversy transcended politics and protocol, evolving into a cultural spectacle that gripped audiences from London to Los Angeles. Each development intensified the intrigue, transforming a legislative motion into a defining moment of modern royal history. Amid the storm of scrutiny and speculation, Prince Harry's response was nothing short of explosive. His reaction, raw, impassioned, and unflinching, reverberated across the globe, capturing the emotional gravity of a prince confronted with the possibility of losing the very titles that defined his identity. His words carried both defiance and anguish, revealing a man torn between loyalty to his heritage and an unwavering determination to defend his truth. In that moment, the Duke of Sussex emerged not merely as a royal figure, but as a symbol of personal conviction, igniting admiration and controversy in equal measure. Inside Buckingham Palace, the atmosphere was tense and impenetrable. Silence descended upon the corridors of power, broken only by whispers of urgent consultations and private deliberations. Courtiers navigated the delicate balance between constitutional neutrality and familial loyalty, while senior advisors grappled with the implications of a crisis that threatened to reshape the monarchy's public image. The absence of an official response spoke volumes, underscoring the gravity of a situation that challenged the very foundations of royal authority. The constitutional ramifications of stripping a prince of his titles loomed large, sparking intense debate among legal scholars, historians, and political leaders. Never before had such a motion commanded global attention, raising profound questions about the limits of parliamentary authority and the evolving role of monarchy in a modern democracy. To some, it represented a necessary reform, to others, an unprecedented intrusion into royal tradition. As the debate intensified, the crown stood at a crossroads, its future shaped by forces both ancient and contemporary. Public opinion fractured along lines of loyalty and reform, reflecting a society deeply divided by the controversy. Admirers of Prince Harry viewed the motion as unjust and deeply personal, while critics saw it as a consequence of choices that challenged royal convention. The emotional resonance of the crisis extended beyond political discourse, touching on themes of identity, legacy, and belonging. In homes, parliaments, and newsrooms across the world, the story ignited fervent discussion, ensuring its place among the most consequential royal controversies of the modern era. Yet beneath the spectacle of headlines and public debate lay the unmistakable sense of a deeper conflict, one rooted in history, loyalty, and unresolved wounds. The motion to strip Prince Harry of his royal titles was not merely a legislative act, but a symbolic confrontation between past and present, tradition and transformation. As tensions escalated and emotions intensified, it became clear that the stakes extended far beyond a single title, foreshadowing a royal reckoning destined to reshape the House of Windsor. But this dramatic confrontation was not born overnight. It was the culmination of years of mounting tension, fractured loyalties, and unresolved wounds within the House of Windsor. Long before the House of Lords ignited a constitutional crisis, Prince Harry's journey had already set him apart from royal tradition. Once the beloved spare, he transformed into a voice of defiance, challenging protocol, confronting the press, and redefining his destiny. As his path diverged from the crown, admiration turned to controversy. But what drove the prince to break ranks with the institution that defined his identity? Born into privilege yet shadowed by expectation, Prince Harry's early life unfolded beneath the relentless gaze of the world. As the younger son of the future king, he was affectionately known as the Spare, a role steeped in both privilege and quiet displacement. Behind the ceremonial smiles and public appearances lay a childhood shaped by duty, scrutiny, and profound loss. The tragic death of his mother, Princess Diana, marked a defining moment in his life, an event that left an indelible imprint on his heart and shaped his perception of the monarchy. Her compassion, her rebellion against rigid protocol, and her enduring connection with the public became guiding forces in Harry's emotional and moral evolution. As he matured, Harry sought purpose beyond palace walls, forging an identity grounded in service and resilience. His military career offered both refuge and redemption, transforming a restless prince into a decorated soldier admired for his courage and authenticity. Yet even amid the discipline of the armed forces, the echoes of his mother's legacy remained ever present, fueling a growing determination to challenge injustice and reshape the narrative of royal responsibility. This transformation marked the beginning of a new chapter 1, in which loyalty to tradition would increasingly collide with a desire for independence. Upon returning to royal life, Harry emerged not merely as a prince, but as a powerful voice willing to confront the institutions that had long defined him. His outspoken stance on mental health, media intrusion, and social inequality resonated with a generation seeking authenticity from its leaders. Admirers praised his candor and humanitarian commitment, while critics questioned his defiance of royal convention. As interviews, documentaries, and memoirs brought his personal struggles into the public sphere, the once beloved royal became a figure of both admiration and controversy. Each revelation deepened the divide between Harry and the establishment, amplifying tensions that reverberated through the corridors of Buckingham Palace. The evolution of his public image reflected a prince caught between heritage and self-determination. No longer content to remain a symbolic figure within a rigid hierarchy, Harry embraced a path defined by conviction and personal truth. His willingness to challenge tradition, to speak openly of pain and disillusionment, redefined the role of a modern royal and ignited debates that transcended borders. To supporters, he embodied courage and authenticity. To detractors, he represented a rupture in the continuity of the crown. In either case, his journey became a catalyst for reflection on the evolving identity of monarchy in a rapidly changing world. As tensions with the royal establishment intensified, the bonds that once united the House of Windsor grew increasingly fragile. Private disagreements, unspoken grievances, and the weight of public expectation converged to create a climate of uncertainty and unrest. Beneath the grandeur of royal ceremony, a quiet conflict unfolded, one shaped by loyalty, legacy, and the enduring shadow of history. Each step Harry took toward independence brought him closer to a moment of reckoning, foreshadowing a confrontation that would captivate the world and challenge the foundations of tradition. As Harry's defiance grew louder and his independence more resolute, the fragile bonds within the monarchy began to fracture, setting the stage for an unprecedented political reckoning. Behind the gilded traditions of Westminster, a quiet but explosive debate was unfolding. Senior peers, constitutional scholars, and political insiders deliberated a motion never before seriously considered: the removal of a prince's royal titles. As whispers of reform turned into legislative action, the House of Lords found itself at the center of a historic storm. Was this justice, reform, or a constitutional gamble that threatened the very fabric of the monarchy? Within the vaulted chambers of Parliament, where centuries of tradition shaped every decision, the motion emerged with a gravity few could ignore. Royal titles had long symbolized continuity, lineage, and national identity, yet now, the constitutional authority of Parliament itself stood under scrutiny. Legal scholars and historians debated fiercely, examining precedents buried deep within Britain's legislative past, while constitutional experts weighed the limits of parliamentary power over the crown. To some, the motion represented a necessary assertion of accountability. To others, it threatened to unravel the delicate balance between monarchy and democracy that had endured for generations. Behind closed doors, secret deliberations unfolded with calculated precision. Senior peers gathered in hushed corridors, exchanging guarded opinions as political insiders assessed the implications of a decision that would reverberate across history. Confidential briefings and late-night consultations revealed a chamber divided, its members wrestling with the unprecedented nature of the proposal. Whispers echoed through Westminster's ancient halls, fueling speculation that this was not merely a legislative act, but a defining moment in Britain's constitutional evolution. Political motivations and mounting public pressure intensified the drama, transforming parliamentary debate into a national spectacle. Advocates of reform argued that modern accountability demanded decisive action, while defenders of royal tradition warned of irreversible consequences. The motion ignited fierce ideological divisions, with lawmakers navigating a treacherous landscape shaped by public sentiment, political calculation, and historical reverence. Each speech, each vote, carried the weight of centuries, underscoring the magnitude of a decision that would test the resilience of the monarchy itself. As the debate intensified, opinions among lawmakers and historians grew increasingly polarized. Some viewed the motion as an act of justice, a symbolic reaffirmation of parliamentary sovereignty, while others condemned it as an unprecedented intrusion into royal prerogative. The clash of perspectives reflected a broader national reckoning, one that pitted tradition against transformation and exposed the fragile equilibrium upon which Britain's constitutional monarchy rested. In lecture halls and newsrooms alike, scholars dissected the unfolding crisis, their analyses amplifying the sense of historic urgency. Fueling the controversy were a series of strategic media leaks that propelled the debate into the global spotlight. Confidential discussions found their way onto front pages, igniting public discourse and transforming Westminster's quiet deliberations into an international spectacle. Headlines blazed with speculation, commentators debated the implications with fervor, and social media erupted with opinion and outrage. The narrative evolved into a gripping drama of power and legitimacy, captivating audiences far beyond Britain's shores, and ensuring that every development carried global resonance. Amid the mounting pressure, the monarchy itself struggled to remain neutral. Buckingham Palace maintained a calculated silence, navigating the delicate boundary between constitutional impartiality and familial loyalty. Behind palace walls, advisors grappled with the implications of a crisis that threatened to redefine the crown's role in modern society. The absence of public commentary spoke volumes, underscoring the profound sensitivity of a decision that tested both tradition and unity within the House of Windsor. Never before had such a proposal commanded the attention of both Parliament and the world, marking it as an action without precedent in modern royal history. The motion to strip a prince of his royal titles stood as a bold and controversial challenge to centuries of tradition, its implications extending far beyond the fate of a single individual. As the debate reached its crescendo, the sense of inevitability deepened, foreshadowing a moment that would reshape public perception of monarchy, authority, and legacy. As Westminster debated Harry's fate, the prince himself watched from afar, his silence building toward a response that would shake the world. When the motion reached its peak, Prince Harry's response was swift, fiery, and unforgettable. In a declaration that reverberated across continents, he denounced the proceedings as unjust, personal, and deeply symbolic of a system he had long challenged. His words ignited both admiration and outrage. But was this an act of righteous defiance, or the final rupture between a prince and the institution that shaped his life? The world held its breath as Harry broke his silence with a force that stunned even his most ardent supporters. His public statement, charged with emotion and unwavering conviction, cut through the noise of speculation and struck at the heart of the controversy. No longer the quiet observer watching events unfold from afar, he emerged as a man determined to defend his identity and legacy. Each word carried the weight of history, echoing the pain of exile, the burden of expectation, and the unrelenting scrutiny that had followed him since childhood. In that moment, his voice transformed from royal restraint into defiant clarity, igniting a global conversation about justice, loyalty, and belonging. At the core of his declaration were accusations of injustice and institutional betrayal. Harry framed the motion not merely as a constitutional procedure, but as a deeply personal affront, one that symbolized years of alienation and unresolved conflict within the royal establishment. His condemnation of the proceedings resonated with those who viewed him as a reformer challenging antiquated traditions, while critics dismissed his words as an emotional outburst unbecoming of a prince. The confrontation laid bare a profound divide between personal truth and institutional authority, casting the monarchy into a storm of controversy that reverberated across continents. Support for Harry surged with remarkable intensity. Allies, activists, and global audiences rallied behind him, praising his courage and authenticity in confronting a system they believed resistant to change. Social media platforms ignited with tributes and declarations of solidarity, transforming his statement into a rallying cry for reform and accountability. Admirers hailed him as a symbol of modern defiance, a prince willing to sacrifice privilege in pursuit of integrity, while commentators framed his stance as a pivotal moment in the evolution of royal identity. The groundswell of support amplified his message, ensuring that his voice resonated far beyond the confines of royal tradition. Yet the backlash was equally fierce. Critics accused Harry of abandoning his royal duty, arguing that his defiance represented a betrayal of the very institution that had shaped his life. Commentators questioned his motives, scrutinizing his actions through the lens of tradition and responsibility. To them, his response was not an act of courage, but a rupture and irreversible departure from the continuity of the crown. The clash of perspectives intensified public debate, revealing a monarchy caught between reverence for heritage and the demands of a rapidly changing world. Behind the headlines and heated discourse lay the emotional toll borne by Harry and his family. The controversy weighed heavily upon him, exposing wounds both old and new, while the strain of public scrutiny extended to those closest to him. Meghan, steadfast and resolute, emerged as his confidante and defender, her presence a source of strength amid the storm. Together, they navigated the turbulence of public judgment and institutional resistance, embodying a partnership forged in loyalty and shared conviction. Their unity underscored the human dimension of the crisis, reminding audiences that beneath the grandeur of monarchy lay lives shaped by love, sacrifice, and resilience. As tensions escalated, the divide between Harry and the monarchy deepened into an unmistakable confrontation. Each statement, each reaction, intensified the sense of a royal family at a crossroads torn between tradition and transformation. The reverberations of his defiance extended beyond personal grievance, igniting questions about power, legitimacy, and the evolving role of monarchy in the modern era. What began as a legislative motion had become a defining struggle of identity and legacy, captivating the world with its drama and uncertainty. As Harry's defiance reverberated across the globe, the palace faced mounting pressure to respond, its silence speaking louder than words. Within Buckingham Palace, the atmosphere was tense and impenetrable. No statements, no denials, only silence. As the monarchy confronted one of the most controversial moments in modern history, insiders whispered of private meetings, strained relationships, and emotional reckonings. How would King Charles respond to the crisis surrounding his son, and could the royal family withstand the storm threatening to divide it forever? Behind the gilded gates and centuries-old traditions, the palace adopted a strategy of deliberate silence, its restraint speaking louder than any proclamation. Courtiers moved with measured urgency through hushed corridors, and confidential meetings unfolded behind closed doors, shielded from public scrutiny. This calculated quietude was not merely caution, it was a testament to the gravity of the moment. As speculation mounted and global attention intensified, the absence of an official response became a narrative in itself, amplifying tension and deepening the sense of uncertainty surrounding the crown. At the center of the unfolding drama stood King Charles, burdened by a dilemma both personal and political. As sovereign, he was bound by constitutional neutrality. As a father, he faced the emotional anguish of a son publicly confronting the institution he now led. His position demanded restraint, yet the weight of history pressed heavily upon him. Advisors and confidants wrestled with competing imperatives: protect the dignity of the monarchy, preserve familial bonds, and navigate a crisis unprecedented in modern royal history. Each decision carried the potential to shape not only his reign, but the enduring legacy of the House of Windsor. Privately, tensions between Prince Harry and senior members of the royal family reached a poignant and fragile crescendo. Long-standing grievances, unresolved misunderstandings, and the scars of past conflicts surfaced in whispered conversations and carefully guarded exchanges. The emotional distance between father and son, once unthinkable, became a defining element of the crisis. Beneath the grandeur of royal tradition lay a deeply human story, one of loyalty, disappointment, and the painful complexities of familial duty. Prince William's role in the unfolding turmoil added another layer of intrigue and uncertainty. As heir to the throne, he stood at the intersection of duty and brotherhood, his position shaped by responsibility and personal history. Once inseparable, the bond between the brothers had grown strained, tested by divergent paths and public controversy. Insiders speculated about his evolving stance, weighing the demands of future kingship against the enduring ties of kinship. His silence, like that of the palace, carried profound significance, hinting at the delicate balance he was compelled to maintain. The emotional strain within the House of Windsor reverberated through every corner of the institution. From private residences to ceremonial halls, the weight of the crisis was palpable, casting a shadow over a monarchy already navigating a rapidly changing world. Advisors grappled with constitutional and reputational risks, aware that every action or inaction would be scrutinized by a global audience. Their counsel reflected the delicate interplay between tradition and modernity, underscoring the magnitude of a moment that threatened to redefine the monarchy's future. As whispers of uncertainty and anticipation filled the palace, it became clear that the crown stood at a historic crossroads. The choices made within these walls would echo far beyond the present crisis, shaping perceptions of authority, legitimacy, and unity for generations to come. What began as a constitutional controversy had evolved into a profound test of resilience, one that would challenge the very foundations of royal identity and purpose. As tensions simmered behind palace walls, the world beyond watched with fascination, transforming a private royal conflict into a global spectacle. From London to Los Angeles, the controversy ignited a media storm unlike any in recent memory. Headlines blazed, debates erupted, and social media became a battleground of opinion. Supporters hailed Harry as a champion of reform, while critics accused him of betraying royal duty. As the world watched in disbelief, the monarchy faced a defining moment, one that would reshape its image for generations to come. The story dominated global headlines within hours, transforming a constitutional dispute into an international spectacle. From the front pages of British broadsheets to primetime broadcasts across the United States, Europe, and Australia, the crisis unfolded with relentless intensity. Commentators dissected every statement, every silence, and every gesture, framing the controversy as a historic confrontation between tradition and transformation. Newsrooms hummed with urgency, and analysts debated whether the motion to strip Prince Harry of his royal titles signaled the beginning of a new era for the monarchy or the unraveling of its carefully guarded mystique. Public reaction surged with equal force, reflecting a world deeply divided by loyalty, identity, and belief. Admirers praised Harry's courage, viewing him as a modern reformer willing to challenge centuries of tradition in pursuit of authenticity and justice. Critics, however, condemned his defiance, accusing him of forsaking duty and undermining the institution that shaped his life. Across continents, families gathered around televisions, commentators sparred in heated debates, and audiences grappled with the emotional complexity of a prince at odds with his own heritage. The controversy transcended royal intrigue, becoming a global dialogue about power, accountability, and the enduring symbolism of the crown. Social media amplified the drama to unprecedented levels, transforming the crisis into a digital battlefield of opinion and emotion. Hashtags surged to the top of global trends, uniting supporters and detractors in fervent discussion. Viral clips of Harry's statements spread rapidly, accompanied by passionate commentary and fierce rebuttals. Influencers, activists, and historians joined the discourse, each offering their perspective on the unfolding drama. In this era of instant communication, the narrative evolved in real time, ensuring that every development reverberated across the world with electrifying immediacy. Beyond Britain's shores, the controversy resonated profoundly throughout the Commonwealth, where the monarchy's legacy remains both revered and contested. Leaders and citizens alike reflected on the implications of the crisis, questioning the evolving role of the Crown in modern governance. In Canada, Australia, and the Caribbean, debates reignited over constitutional ties and national identity, underscoring the far-reaching significance of the House of Windsor. For some, the controversy symbolized the need for reform. For others, it represented a destabilizing rupture in a centuries-old tradition. The ripple effects of the crisis revealed the monarchy's enduring global influence and the fragility of its modern standing. Amid the fervor, renewed discussions emerged about the relevance of monarchy in a rapidly changing world. Scholars and commentators examined whether the institution could adapt to contemporary expectations of transparency, accountability, and inclusivity. Harry's defiance, once viewed as a personal rebellion, evolved into a symbolic challenge to royal convention, prompting reflection on the balance between heritage and progress. His growing influence beyond Britain through humanitarian work, public advocacy, and global engagement further complicated the narrative, positioning him as both an outsider to the crown and a powerful voice within the international arena. As the crisis unfolded, it reshaped public perception of the monarchy itself, exposing its vulnerabilities while reaffirming its enduring allure. The spectacle of tradition confronting transformation captivated audiences, illuminating the human drama behind the grandeur of royal life. What began as a parliamentary motion had evolved into a defining moment of modern history, compelling the world to reconsider the meaning of power, legacy, and identity within the House of Windsor. Yet beyond the headlines and public debate, the constitutional crisis raised profound questions about tradition, authority, and the future of the monarchy itself. For centuries, royal titles have symbolized lineage, duty, and divine authority. But the House of Lords' bold move challenged tradition in a way that stunned historians and royal observers alike. Was this the dawn of a modernized monarchy, or the spark of an institutional crisis? As the crown stood at a crossroads, the world waited to see whether reform would strengthen or divide it. From the earliest days of Britain's monarchy, royal titles have carried profound significance, representing not only hereditary privilege, but the continuity of a nation's identity. Dukedoms, peerages, and princely honors have long served as symbols of allegiance, responsibility, and the divine right that once defined kingship. These titles were never mere ceremonial adornments. They were the threads that wove together history, governance, and national unity. To strip a royal of such distinction was an act almost unthinkable, a rupture in a tradition that had endured through wars, revolutions, and centuries of political evolution. The House of Lords' unprecedented motion inevitably invited comparisons to past royal controversies and reforms that reshaped the monarchy's trajectory. From the abdication crisis of Edward VIII to the gradual modernization of royal protocol under successive reigns, each pivotal moment had tested the resilience of the crown. Yet none had so directly confronted the symbolic sanctity of royal titles themselves. Historians and commentators debated whether this act represented necessary reform in a modern democracy or an intrusion into the sanctified realm of royal prerogative. The echoes of history reverberated through Westminster and Buckingham Palace alike, reminding observers that every royal crisis leaves an indelible mark on the institution's legacy. As Britain navigated the complexities of the 21st century, the evolving role of the monarchy stood at the center of national discourse. Once revered as an unquestioned authority, the crown now balanced tradition with transparency, ceremonial grandeur with contemporary relevance. Public expectations had shifted, demanding accountability and adaptability from an institution rooted in antiquity. In this climate, the proposed removal of Prince Harry's titles became more than a constitutional question. It symbolized the tension between heritage and progress, challenging the monarchy to redefine its place within a modern democracy. Debates over authority, precedent, and legitimacy intensified, drawing constitutional scholars, legal experts, and political leaders into a fervent exchange of perspectives. Could Parliament rightfully intervene in matters of royal designation, or did such authority remain the exclusive domain of the sovereign? The question struck at the very heart of Britain's constitutional framework, blurring the boundaries between tradition and governance. Each argument reflected a deeper philosophical struggle over the meaning of power and the legitimacy of reform, underscoring the gravity of a decision that would reverberate through generations. At the center of this historic confrontation stood Prince Harry himself, his defiance emerging as a powerful symbolic challenge to tradition. To supporters, he embodied the spirit of modern reform, a prince willing to confront antiquated norms in pursuit of authenticity and justice. To critics, he represented a destabilizing force, a figure whose actions threatened the continuity and dignity of the crown. In either interpretation, his presence transformed the debate into a profoundly human drama, illuminating the emotional complexities behind institutional change. The monarchy, caught between reverence for heritage and the necessity of progress, struggled to maintain equilibrium in the face of mounting pressure. Advisors, historians, and observers alike recognized that the outcome of this crisis would shape not only public perception, but the future of royal authority itself. As tradition collided with transformation, the crown stood poised on the edge of reinvention, its legacy defined by the choices made in this defining moment. As history unfolded in real time, the ultimate impact of the Lord's decision would be measured not only in power but in legacy. Stripped of titles yet unbroken in spirit, Prince Harry stood at a defining crossroads, no longer bound by royal convention, yet forever shaped by his heritage. As the dust settled, the world questioned whether his loss was a tragedy or a liberation. Had the monarchy severed its ties with a prince, or had Harry forged a new identity beyond the crown's reach? The removal of his royal titles carried a profound emotional and symbolic weight, reverberating far beyond the ceremonial grandeur they once represented. For Prince Harry, the titles were not merely honors but emblems of lineage, duty, and identity, threads woven into the fabric of his life since birth. Their loss marked a moment of reckoning, stripping away the formal symbols of his heritage, while leaving the essence of his story untouched. To some, it signified exile. To others, liberation. In that defining moment, the world witnessed a prince transformed, not diminished, but reshaped by adversity into a figure of resilience and defiance. Freed from the constraints of royal protocol, Harry embarked on a path defined by independence and purpose, forging an identity beyond the shadow of the crown. His evolution from royal insider to global advocate signaled a departure from tradition. Yet his heritage remained an indelible part of his narrative. Each step forward reflected a deliberate reimagining of his role in the modern world, one rooted not in privilege but in conviction. In navigating this uncharted terrain, he redefined what it meant to be royal, transforming inherited status into a platform for influence and change. His humanitarian work emerged as a cornerstone of this new identity, extending his reach across continents and causes. From championing mental health initiatives to advocating for veterans and vulnerable communities, Harry's global influence transcended the boundaries of monarchy. These endeavors, driven by compassion and shaped by personal experience, reinforced his enduring connection to the legacy of service long associated with his mother, Princess Diana. Through advocacy and philanthropy, he forged a narrative of purpose that resonated with audiences worldwide, reaffirming his commitment to making a meaningful difference beyond the trappings of royal life. Public perception of Harry evolved in tandem with his journey, shaped by admiration, controversy, and relentless scrutiny. Supporters celebrated his courage in challenging tradition, viewing his transformation as an emblem of authenticity and reform. Critics, however, questioned his choices, interpreting his departure as a rupture in the continuity of royal duty. This duality defined his legacy, casting him as both a symbol of modern independence and a figure entangled in the enduring tensions of heritage and responsibility. In the court of public opinion, his story became a reflection of broader debates about tradition, identity, and the evolving role of monarchy in the 21st century. The enduring shadow of Princess Diana remained ever present, guiding his path and shaping his convictions. Her legacy of compassion, courage, and defiance against rigid convention echoed through his endeavors, serving as both inspiration and burden. In his advocacy and candor, the world glimpsed the continuation of her spirit, a legacy not of titles, but of humanity and empathy. Alongside him stood Meghan, steadfast and resolute, her influence integral to the shaping of their shared future. Together, they forged a partnership rooted in loyalty and vision, navigating the complexities of public life while nurturing a family defined by love and purpose. From adversity emerged transformation, and from loss arose a renewed sense of destiny. Stripped of titles yet empowered by experience, Harry embraced a new chapter, one defined not by tradition, but by the pursuit of meaning and impact. His journey, marked by triumph and turmoil alike, became a testament to resilience in the face of profound change. As the world continued to speculate on his future, his story stood as a powerful reminder that legacy is not confined to crowns or ceremonies, but forged through courage, conviction, and the enduring quest for identity. Yet even as the world speculated about his future, one final question remained: how would history remember the prince who defied the crown? History will remember the moment the House of Lords moved to strip Prince Harry of his royal titles, a decision that ignited outrage, heartbreak, and a global reckoning. As the echoes of that confrontation continue to reverberate through palace corridors and public consciousness, its meaning remains fiercely debated. Was it justice, reform, or a rupture destined to redefine the monarchy for generations to come? The constitutional crisis that unfolded marked one of the most defining chapters in modern royal history, a moment when tradition collided with transformation, and the very foundations of the monarchy were placed under scrutiny. For centuries, the crown had symbolized continuity and unity, yet this unprecedented action revealed the fragility beneath its grandeur. Historians, political analysts, and royal observers alike recognized the gravity of the decision, understanding that its consequences would echo far beyond the present. It was not merely a question of titles, it was a reckoning with identity, authority, and the enduring relevance of monarchy in a rapidly changing world. Within the royal family, the emotional and political fallout proved profound and deeply personal. Bonds once thought unbreakable were tested by distance, duty, and the relentless glare of public attention. King Charles faced the burden of leadership amid familial discord, while Prince William navigated the delicate balance between loyalty to the crown and the memory of a shared brotherhood. At the heart of the storm stood Prince Harry, his transformation from royal prince to global figure, emblematic of both defiance and reinvention. His journey, shaped by conviction and adversity, redefined his legacy, positioning him not merely as a former royal, but as a symbol of modern identity and resilience. The monarchy itself emerged from the crisis irrevocably altered, compelled to confront its place within a contemporary society that demanded transparency and accountability. The controversy forced the institution to evolve, prompting reflection on the balance between heritage and progress. In adapting to these pressures, the crown demonstrated both vulnerability and endurance, reaffirming its capacity for reinvention while preserving the traditions that defined its existence. This transformation underscored the enduring symbolism of power, identity, and legacy, revealing the monarchy not as a static relic of history, but as a living institution shaped by the tides of change. Public perception, reshaped by transparency and conflict, reflected a world divided yet captivated by the unfolding drama. Admirers viewed Harry's defiance as an act of courage, a modern challenge to entrenched tradition, while critics regarded it as a departure from duty and responsibility. Across continents, the debate transcended royal intrigue, evolving into a global dialogue about loyalty, belonging, and the meaning of legacy. In the court of public opinion, the crisis became a mirror reflecting society's evolving values, illuminating the tension between reverence for history and the pursuit of progress. Ultimately, the confrontation stood as a poignant reflection on duty, loyalty, and destiny, an enduring narrative woven into the tapestry of royal history. It revealed the human dimension behind the grandeur of monarchy, reminding the world that beneath crowns and ceremonies lie stories of sacrifice, conviction, and transformation. As time advances, the legacy of this moment will continue to inspire debate and reflection, shaping perceptions of the crown and the individuals bound to its heritage. And as the world continues to watch, one truth remains undeniable within the House of Windsor: power is never surrendered without consequence. And the story of Prince Harry's royal reckoning is far from over. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.